What's up guys? So in today's video we'll be building this pricing plan section, and this is the website I'm working on. I had some issues having these buttons to align properly because of the amount of content it has. So I don't want you to go through that issue, or if you're already going through that issue, I hope the video helps. So we'll be building this from scratch, but the goal of the video is to have these buttons align, and the reason why this is not aligning is intentional because it's above these two, but if I reset it back they will be aligning. And I also tried looking for YouTube videos for this, but it seems that the content they have was like the same amount. So year before when I try adding or more content, the buttons don't align properly. So let's dive into coding. Alright guys, so I basically have a Vite application up and running. So you can open a new terminal and just run npm create Vite at latest. Then it should tell you to put the name of the folder and select the framework. I'm using React, as you can see, and I'm not using TypeScript as well, so it's just JavaScript. So after you've done that, I also brought in Fort Awesome for this checkmark right here. And what else? I created a component for the pricing plan. So as you can see, we just the class of pricing plans, which is right here. And lastly, the data we're going to use, I also brought it in just to save time. Alright, cool. So let's start writing the code for it. Let's go back to the pricing plan, and first of all we want to bring in the data. I think we called it pricing plan, right? Yeah. So we need to loop over the data, and you can still store this in a canned component as well, but this kind of data you hardly reuse it. So it's basically in the home page. So that's why I just put them in an array of objects, but you can do them whatever way you like. So let's just loop over it. So we'll say pricing plans. I said loop, we're going to map over it. So map over each of the plan and create a new variable, a new div rather, div. I'll give this a key of plan.id, and also still need to give this a class name for now, because we would be styling this separately, and just give this a border radius. I might not even take it up, so let's just use backticks and be able to access each of the card using the ID. So if we want to style each of the card, we will just use the ID. So for the first one, we can just say active dash, what's the ID? 1, to style the first card, and so on. Next, we just need to have a content that is going to hold the name, and let's create a span tag with a class name of price that will obviously hold the price. So say plan.price, and outside the content we'll create another a list, which is all this. From this includes right here. So we'll say UL, and let's give this a class name of list, and add the text of includes and inside there we also have to loop between each fixture right here. So I'm still saying loop. We need to map over each fixture right here. So let's say plan dot features dot map, and I believe we didn't have an ID, so you use the index for the key. So we can say li, and the key should be the index. Y here should just, the content itself should be each of the feature. And lastly, what we need to do is to create a link to the button, which we just say plan the link. For now it's going to take you nowhere, and class name should be btn, and this will write this hard coded because it's the same for all of them, but the link might change, but this text won't change. That was why I didn't added it to this array of objects right here. So cool. I think we're done with this. We don't need this as well. And I didn't mention for the index file, I already have Poppins fonts right in, and I also have the color we used. I've also reset this as well. So let's see what we have. We have all the contents. Now let's just start styling them. So since this is just in the body, unlike this one, we'll have a full-fledged website, we'll just put everything in the middle. So let's grab the body, and first of all set the font family to Poppins, and the fallback should be sans serif. Should add display of grid, and the height should be 100 VH. Take the entire height of the screen, and let's place item center. Let's see what we have so far. Alright, cool. So we need also have a background color of 020203, more like a dark background, and the color itself should be white. Alright, cool. So let's get rid of these bullet points right here, and coming from list item, so just a list style none to get rid of that. Okay, now we need to like stack them side by side, and you can do that in multiple ways using flex box or grid boards. Since we started with grid, so let's just use grid throughout. So we get the pricing plans, which is this, and basically say pricing plans, set it to display of grid, then the grid template column should be repeat 1FR. So it's going to stack in 3 columns and span 1 fraction. So each of them has 1 fraction. Excuse me, each of them has 1 fraction, which is kind of, they have the same size. Okay, cool. Let's add a gap of 1 rem. I don't think you see the gap in action right now, so we need to style the card themselves. So you can say pricing plan, and I believe I called it plan. So this is it right here. So add the background color of RGBA 34, the green should be 37, the blue should be 34 again, and the alpha should be 0.5. Also need to add the border radius of 1 rem and a padding 3 for the top. The left and right should be 1 m, the bottom should be 2 rem. Alright, cool. So this right here is the gap we added, which is this 1 rem right here. So we need to style the contents inside. So this content, we need to style it to make it look like this one. But as you can already see, you can see that these buttons are not aligned properly. So it's kind of up, down, and down again. Alright, so you can just do that by copying this, paste it, and just get the content itself. Now the margin bottom of 1 rem to it. So the content is basically just this D right here. And we need to just grab the H theory, I believe. Yeah, H theory and span. So for the H theory, we can just give this a text transform of capitalize and a font size of, let's say, 1.2 rem. And let's also give this the primary color we created right here in this our root variable. Alright, so I think we also need to add the font weight of 500. Alright, okay, cool. So now we need to style the price. So simple, just copy this and just add the price class to it and add the font size of 3 rem, and the font weight should be what, 600. So let's check that out. Alright, cool. Next we need to style this list. So we can do that by saying, or by copying these 2 classes and just adding the list and add the margin bottom of 3 rem to push it down from the button itself, and grab these classes again. So I'm going to be styling the P tile right here, which is this includes, and we'll just bump up the font weight to 500 and margin bottom of 1.5 rem. Next we need to style the list items for each of the feature. So we'll just grab this again, copy it, paste, and just add the li tag and add the position of relative, add the color of coming 9891 rather 8C 8C. I think this is color, right? Okay, and let's add the padding left of 1.5 rem. Yeah, cool. So we need to bring in this check mark. That's why, which is going to take the same padding as this includes. Cool. So what we need to do right now is to say that's why I added this relative class, because we're using a pseudo element, the before pseudo element. So grab this one and add the before pseudo element to this, and the content should be, this content can be anything. So I can just say go, for example. You should see go already coming in right here. So this content should be the check mark, which is actually FOC. This should be 0, not O. I might be wrong, but let's just see how it goes. Yeah. The font weight should be 900. The font family obviously is for awesome 5 free. So if you go to fontawesome.com and you want to use the unique code, there are a bunch of them. So for the check mark, this is a unique code, and for it to work, you also need to have a font. You also need to, and for it to work, you also need to add a font weight and a font family as well. So next, we need to give this a position of absolute, which will be relative to this parent here, and add the left of 0, top of 50. The color should be the primary color as well, and let's just put this at top. So transform translate y should be -50. All right, cool. So let's see what we have right now. Yeah, this is what we want. Now we need to add a margin bottom to this list item. So once again, grab this class, paste it in, and say not last child. So what we're trying to do is to add a margin bottom to each of the list item except for the last one, so that we don't have a weird margin at this bottom. So let's just give this a margin bottom of 0.7 rem. Yeah, cool. Alright, we're almost getting there. We just need to, let's just tie the buttons first. So for the button, I think is the anchor tag, so we need to add display of inline block because anchor tags are inline by default. So also need to get rid of the line under it and give this a weight of 100%. The background color should be the primary color. The color should be what? Should be black. Add a padding of 0.7 rem to the top and 1.8 rem to the left and right. Also need to bump up the font size to 1 rem. Add the border radius of 0.6 rem. Let's see what we have so far. Alright, so we need to also bring it to the center and add a font weight of, let's say 700 rem. I think that should do it. Yeah, so let's save. Alright, cool. So before we start making this align properly, let's just style this middle one a bit. So like I said, I can have access to each plan through its ID. So we'll say the active 2, which is the second card. Let's just add the border of 1 pixel solid and the primary color, and that should do. Alright guys, so for us to be able to, right now it's working fine, but this is why I see most websites when you add more content. Okay, let me just go back to the pricing data plan. This is 4 by default, so let's just comment out this one right here. I think this should be 2. Let's go back. You can see that all of them are now okay, cool. But once you start adding more content to, or more features to each of the card, start getting really messy. But we don't need that. We need to see need this contact button to be at the same place all through, despite the content that we add. So all we need to do is to go back to our CSS and go back to the plan, this plan right here. I also need to add a display flex. So this is what I mean. For each of the plan, where is it? So we're adding display flex to this, which is stack everything side by side. So if we take a look at it now, let's go back to CSS5 first. You can see it's stacking side by side. So now we need to add the flex direction of column right now. Now nothing is still working, but what we did is that we now have access to stretch this height of this content right here, or this list, because of the display flex we added. So now if we go back to this list and let's just give this a height of 100 pixels, you can see that it now stretches along the way. So let me get rid of it and add a background of, let's just say a pink. So these are the way the content is. When we bring in this height of 100% right now, you can see that it's stretching to make sure that each of these has equal height. So if we get rid of this now and even add more content, so let's just copy this, paste it right here and add more content to this, at all point you can see that the contact us button stays in the same place. Right guys, so that's the end of the video. I hope you learned something from this, because it really took me some time to get it working. So leave a like and share to someone if you know someone having this same issue.